Good morning, my name is Olaf and I am living in Belgium and working in the Netherlands as a CRM consultant, and today I have 5 tips for you, hot tips for hotel-crm about how to build meaningful dialogues with your guest, because that's basically what CRM is about. The first tip is, I would say, book returning guests as returning guests. You know that we have so many Mr. Jones in our guest files that every time we create a new guest profile, Mr. Jones, because we actually don't have time to look up if Mr. Jones already stayed in our hotel previously. And that of course is killing, because you never know who actually is your returning guest. So look them up in your past records and book returning guests as returning guests. First tip. Second tip, I would say, is de-average your business objectives over VIP levels. Oh, explain yourself. I think that means that if you have an average of 92% guest satisfaction, that means that in some categories of guests you need to have 100% guest satisfaction, and in some other categories you might have 80%, and that means that you have to deal with these people differently. You actually have different conversations with people who have a 100% guest satisfaction, and you have a different conversation with people who have only 80% guest satisfaction. So whatever your business objectives are, always de-average them into different VIP levels. And now I must look at my paper. Third tip is make an inventory of your relational capacity. The biggest mistake in CRM is that we try to outsource relationship management to one person in the company, like a guest relationship manager or so. I think that everybody is responsible for CRM. So what you should do is like, who can spend how many hours per week on guest relationship management? And I think it's a pretty good idea that the guest relationship manager is actually managing this capacity. And so it will be that the general manager will spend 1 hour per week on guest relationship management with the 50 most important guests of the hotel. The fourth tip is, check again, is guest experiments. Actually, if you're in relationship building, you're finding out to what the limits are of seducing guests into a relationship. And actually we always think that guests don't have time, that they need to go to the next meeting, an airplane, and that proactivity is a kind of an intrusion on their privacy or privacy. Well, actually, if you just go on to them during breakfast, in the bar or whatever, you will find out that a major percentage of guests will actually appreciate the fact that you proactively talk to them. So just go into experiments and see what is the best time of the day, who's the best person to do it, and which guests actually appreciate you going into a dialogue with them. And then last tip, and maybe in line with what I just said, is actively involve your operational F&B staff in building relationships, because basically they are the people who spend the most time often with your guest in restaurants and so on. Frontline people in the reception have only limited time to talk to the guest, because you just have this check-in, check-out procedures going on. But actually in restaurants, guests are more relaxed and have time to communicate. And the thing is that not always information or knowledge or observations made by operational staff are finding their way back into the property management system or to the to-do list of guest relationship managers. So yeah, well, that's already like a good list to start with, I think. Good luck with your CRM's initiatives, and keep in touch. Cheers.